Welcome to Life Center University, where we talk about real issues affecting real people and introduce you to community partners who can provide real help. Today we are talking with Chris and Robin Boue about navigating the rough waters of a blended family.
Hi, I'm Robin.
And I'm Chris.
And we have been married for 17 years. And look at that face. And we blended a family 17 years ago. We both were divorced, and by God's grace, we met each other, and then we blended our families.
We did. It's true.
One of the things that we really want to share, and the reason why we're excited about it, is that it's really important to be kind to yourself and remember that what is happening right in the moment, in the heat of the moment, isn't forever. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and we had to remind ourselves of that so many times when we were having conflict, or when we were having conflict with our former spouses, or just kids. We had teenagers, so we literally had 5 teenagers through this event of blending a family. So we had a normal divorce situation on one side, and we had a high conflict divorce on the other side. It was one of the hardest things I personally have ever experienced.
To accomplish just about anything with a blended family, you really have to create a healthy culture.
Which is challenging. So we have a couple tips for you and it's rebuilding a culture, right? So just a little bit about culture clashes. So when 2 families combine, the new family can be very disjointed at the beginning. So, but you can grow together by developing close emotional relationships, which you actually can do. But one of the things that we did is agree as soon as possible with your new partner on who's who. And what that means is, what we did is we didn't say my kids and your kids, or his kids or my kids. What we did is we refer to them as our kids. And sometimes when people would drill into that, because I know everybody's curious, what we would do is say, well, what I did is I brought 3 biological children to the family, and Chris brought 2 biological children to the family, so that when they walked in through the threshold of our home, they were family. So while, we're not suggesting that everybody has to do it this way, this was, as we've talked to our kids, this was pretty key to our kids having good relationships with one another and not feeling like there was a scarce environment and they had to fight for it. Because, what we didn't do is we never said to our kids, like, I'm your mom. Like, we realized that, I am not their biological mother. Chris was not their biological father, right? So we understood that, and we weren't trying to get confused about that. We just wanted to make sure that really life was less complicated, so that they didn't have to explain all the time.
Yeah.
So you're going to be told that you're not my real parent, or you're not my family, and those are things that are painful, right? Because you think, I love this person, I have accepted them, I'm providing for them, but you just really have to let the kids accept you where they are and not where you are. Yeah. So that's a big challenge, I think, but. Yeah. And we didn't do it right all the time. So just to be clear about that.
So that was the learning after we made mistakes.
Right.
In a big way. In fact, I've had people ask me about that learning, now why did you do that? And what I think it boils down to, at least for me, was we were trying to come at it from our children's perspective, not our perspective. We would have loved to not have anybody else in the ecosystem of mom and dad sometimes, personally, but that wasn't what was best for the kids, and that's not real world. Yeah. A second thing to consider is you need to change expectations.
That is very simply said, and that is like...
Okay, but I didn't say lower them.
Everest to summit, so yeah.
I didn't say lower the expectations, I said change them. Just know that what you expect to happen is not going to happen. That is a constant. To give you a sense of it, when I was looking at our getting married and pulling our kids together, I had this vision of my former family plus 3 kids. Isn't this going to be great? So I will tell you, it was better and worse. It had changes that I could not have imagined. Things that were involved that I couldn't have predicted. We used to tell people when they would ask about our family, we would say, well, we have 5 kids, 1 cat, 1 dog, and 2 exes. Because when you're a melded family, other parents and other spouses and significant others of other parents become part of your larger family. They become part of the group, if you would. So understanding that, not fighting it, but figuring out how it works, and again, keeping your win in mind. Holidays and celebrations is another point. And I heard Robin take a breath when I said it. Think about this. Flexibility is key. Flexibility and communication are key. Holidays such as Christmas and Thanksgiving are a fluid concept. And it took us just about until the last one graduated for us to really get an understanding and a feel. And there's still pain involved with that, because we really didn't understand that we weren't going to have what we had before. However, viewing it in a different light, viewing it in a different win, that you wanted to celebrate those things with kids. You wanted to have memories. You wanted to have engagement with kids. You didn't have to grab on a certain day at a certain time. Really, really helps you. Third thing is fight the right battles and for the right reasons. When you're in a blended family, there seems like there's always a battle. There's always things to fight. There are always fronts to win. In fact, the right battles are not always obvious. And some things that seem like the right battles are actually a distraction to what's important. An example of that if you have brought a family together and you have exes on either side, sometimes battling with your ex, and unfortunately through the kids, can seem valid. Know that that is an entire distraction to what really matters. And if you look at surveys and you talk to divorced parents who married after that, a lot of times it continues on, that conflict. Just know that conflict is not something that can be helpful. However, if your kids see you handle that conflict well, then they're going to be more equipped to handle better conflict in the future. Speaking of culture and battles to fight, I remember there was one of the other households thought burping at the table was really funny. So one time our kids all came back and we were having dinner and they started burping, and you can imagine Robin's face when that happened. And they thought that was hilarious.
They did. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. The point is that my culture, the way I was raised and what I was used to, was that you did not do that at any cost. And another household, that was thought to be funny and silly and a great time. And I was just like, what is happening here?
Yeah. What we had to do is think through what a win really was. Because a win was not just having people act more civilly at the table. It was people coming to the table.
Yeah.
It was having our kids at a table to connect. That was the win.
Yeah. So something that you can do is create shared experiences. Though disconnectedness can cause rockiness initially, you can certainly work toward cohesion, but it is work. It's not like it's going to happen easily.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we did is, like, when we would take vacations, we would have everybody have the same hat and same black glasses. I was trying to think this morning, was that in Florida that we did that?
I think so.
And it was like game over.
The game over hats.
Game over
Love
hat.
those
But
hats.
anyway, so everybody has the game over hat and everybody has the dark glasses, and that way they can all like share that together. So it's a shared identity. Some shared experiences. So telling the story.
If I could, if you're watching this and you don't yet have a blended family and you just heard what Robin said, you might be like, what do you mean hats and glasses? As a blended family, you have to struggle for culture. You have to struggle for unity.
Fight for it.
Fight for it, yeah. And so we're essentially saying, find the things that you and the family can do together, that you identify together, and you'd be surprised how many times over the years they'll bring that up. Every now and then I have one more of those hats, through all those hats.
Right.
Every now and then I wear it, and I'll have one of the kids talk about that vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, any way to build that cohesion. So meals, we were really, what do I want to say? We were very focused on having dinner together because our family wasn't together every night because they were at other households. So when we were together, we had dinner together. And that was very important to us, to the point where our kids would joke, sort of, that we were dinner Nazis because we wanted them to be at the dinner table. But those were shared traditions. And sometimes those were days that was the time that we had to have conversations that weren't about homework or weren't about schedules or they were just about life.
Yeah.
One other example of like creating shared traditions is what I had done with my biological children is created pictures and young photos and Christmas ornaments. So what we realized is when we blended our family that we had all these baby photos on the Christmas tree of my biological children, and your biological children didn't have that because that wasn't part of their tradition.
It didn't. What we did is brought home their little art from grade school and made that. So we had some art and some pictures, and so we had to.
Yeah. So what I did is I went back and I got some of the baby pictures and I made them so that we could have so that all the kids could have kind of similar things. Mm-hmm. So basically what you want to do is you want to keep the love and fun in your relationship, which anybody, if you're watching and you're approaching a blended family, you may not realize this, but if you're in a blended family, you realize that keeping the love and fun in your relationship is very challenging because you've got a lot of stressors, and you've got a lot of stressors that you may not have had in your first family situation. One of the things that you want to do is have your kids visit their other families on the same weekend each month so that you can have a weekend free, which is very needed.
It's very needed.
And then when you're together during the weekend, the every other weekend, all your kids can be together. So if you can pull that off, and we didn't have any trouble with that, although it did take some concerted effort to do. It can help to foster family bonds with everybody in your new family rather than risking subgroups. And, not everybody can do that. So again, you just need to be kind to yourself and do what you can do. And it definitely gave us a break, which was extremely helpful.
Helpful and needed. Yeah.
Blending families from previous marriage is not easy. These tips can help your family thrive in complicated situations. Number 1, agree with your partner on who is who. Number 2, change your expectations. Number 3, fight the right battles for the right reasons. Number 4, create shared experiences for your family. Number 5, keep love and fun in your relationships. This is part 1 of our blended family video. Make sure to check back for part 2 of Chris and Robin's video for more tips on surviving a blended family.